Hello and welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title, and even if you don't see the title, as long as you're in Nigeria, you know that Nigeria is not a real place, especially that place called Lagos. And so today I have two great stories lined up for you today, and I'm going to read them out for you and give my commentary on them at intervals. The title of the first story is The Person Who Said Fair Women Was Onto Something. One day, I posted a funny tweet, and the girl laughed her way into my DMs. Her response was witty, so I opened her profile picture. She looked like a top tier babe. Scanning her page, she seemed level headed, with sensible tweets that aligned with my ideals. We bantered a bit, and soon we were talking regularly. I found out that she lived in the UK, but would soon be in Lagos for a family event. Fast forward to her arrival in Lagos, we continued chatting, though we had not met yet. Finally, she invited me out for drinks to see where the night would take us. I was thrilled. I liked her already, even before meeting her in person. She asked where I lived, and when I told her, she said it wasn't far from the restaurant and offered to pick me up. I'd never had a girl offer to pick me up before. I remember hyping myself up in the mirror, telling myself, "You are the prize. You're just the boy, you," and all the other things they say. It, wait, first of all, why would you why you have never met someone before and you want the person to come to your house to pick you up? Let's leave gender aside, regardless of whether you're a boy or whether you're a girl. I feel like if you're meeting someone for the first time, you should meet at a general place, not at your house. Nobody should know your location on the first date. You have not even met this person before. And anyway, he's the prize. He's a princess, so when she arrived, she was driving a black Lexus, looking stunning. The moment felt surreal, and I thought to myself, so this is what people have been enjoying. Little did I know that I'd soon experience some of the worst moments of my life. I wonder what. At the restaurant, we ordered drinks, no food, just drinks. I suggested she eat something, but she insisted that she wanted to drink. After chatting and drinking for a while, I asked what the plan was. She suggested going to her place since she didn't have any other plans. I hesitated because she mentioned it was her family's house. But she assured me her parents were out of the country and it was just her and her brother. She even said the house was so big they rarely saw each other. So I agreed and we finished our drinks. Before she could offer, I paid the bill because I still wanted to feel like the man. I thought you were the prize. We arrived at her place and I realized her Lexus was the least impressive car in the driveway. From the house and the cars, you go just know say somehow this one papa gets hands for the problems you dey face for this country. Allegedly, no be me talk that one. All those ones no concern me, sha. That day, I was Mr. Easy and I had found my Timmy. As I entered the parlor, I was just daydreaming that I wouldn't mind this house being part of my inheritance when I marry this babe. What is wrong with this boy? This boy has dreams, he has such a wild imagination and he's already dreaming of inheriting this house. He wouldn't mind. Please, girl, sorry, boy, you're the prize. Inside, she asked me what I wanted to drink. I told her to surprise me. So she mixed something and joined me. Why are you asking someone to mix your drink? Someone you don't know. Are you not supposed to be there when the person is mixing whatever they are mixing? Red flag. I'm going to put a red flag counter here. Red flag counter number 3 or so. We drank and talked for another hour before she asked if I'd mind cuddling on the couch. Mind, care. If I say no to that kind of request, make my friends just bundle me, drop me for Yaba Left. If you don't know, Yaba Left is an institution for mentally deficient patients in Lagos, that same Lagos. I gladly obliged to cuddle. As we got comfortable, she started scrolling on her phone. Out of nowhere, she said, "Let me read this tweet to you and tell me what you think." The tweet was one I'd posted over a year ago. Something sexist I'd tweeted to a random girl. The tweets vaguely made fun of her looks and questioned her intelligence. I was like, this one is going through my old tweets. Yes, that's the thing. I have always said to my friends and to everyone that is willing to listen, and now to my audience now, when eventually I am ready to go outside, I am going to be that person that is going to go through your social media, to especially Twitter, now X. I'm going to go through it and see everything that you have posted. And anyway, I was embarrassed and quickly said I don't act that way anymore. I even offered to delete the tweet right then before it led to problems in the future. What was not even deleted in the first place? She looked at me with a chilling calmness and said, I think your reply has already caused problems for you. She went on to explain how my tweet had opened the girl up to online abuse and made her so miserable that she left Twitter. I felt terrible. I admitted I was wrong and knew better now, and she suggested I apologize to the girl. I laughed. She then got up and left the room. A few minutes later, she returned with another drink, and as I was jokingly asking why she didn't get me one, two men walked in, and I stood up in surprise. This is why you don't go to the house of someone that you do not know. She introduced them as her brothers, which surprised me even more, as she had only mentioned one brother, and I had no idea he was who. I sat down after shaking and greeting the brothers. One brother sat down beside me, while the other stood by the door. I then noticed that the one by the door was holding a hammer, and not a regular carpenter hammer, the type that they used to cook. Is there a hammer that they used to cook? At that moment, I realized I was in serious trouble. I tried to leave, but one of the brothers took my phone and told me to sit. I started begging, and I'm not ashamed to say that I started crying, as well as I was unsure what was happening. Go girl! She told me she and the girl I had insulted were best friends, and then began a long rant about how men think they can get away with anything. She threatened to call the Mopos outside to end me. Mopos are policemen. And she would fly back the following day without any issues. I was terrified, as you should be. She said that she could have put something in my drink and I would not even know. And this is why you should not allow people to make your drinks when you are not there. Someone you do not know, someone you are just meeting for the first time in person. Truly, at that moment, I had realized that I didn't know the address of my current location. You see, this girl had definitely watched a lot of crime movies because she was acting unhinged. When I thought about it, the brothers were really there to protect me from her because she seemed very angry. Eventually, she said she would call her friend so I could apologize directly. She FaceTimed her friend, who insulted me, my family, and even my generation. Tangent though, when people insult your generation, don't they know that they are also part of your generation? A generation is not exclusive to only you. If I insult someone that is also the same age, like in the same age bracket as me, if I insult their generation, I'm inadvertently insulting myself. Or am I wrong? Correct me if I'm wrong. The whole conversation lasted nearly an hour, with her friend angrily venting about how my actions had affected her and how she had visualized offing me a few times. I have told this story many times, but I don't think that I have ever successfully conveyed the way I felt at that moment. I can imagine, like, how can you possibly feel when you're in a place that you don't know, with people that you don't know, and with people that you have gravely offended by insulting their intelligence and their looks? I can only imagine how it felt. I can only imagine that it will not be, words can't be enough to even describe how he must have felt. I could see it in this girl's eyes that if her brothers were not there, I would not be here today. Her eyes were dead, no emotions. When it was over, the girl told me to stop crying like a baby and go wash my face in the guest toilet. I could hear them laughing at me. When I came out, one of the brothers handed me water, I guess to replenish my tears, and asked if I was hungry. Hunger for where? I just wanted to go to my house and branch church to give testimony for my life. Finally, one brother took me to a spare room to sleep, saying I could leave in the morning. Ironically, I slept surprisingly well, locked in that room without my phone because AC blew me until the morning. His phone was seized though. I don't think he mentioned it, but his phone was seized. That's what I deduced from this statement. The next morning, I didn't even see her. It was just her brothers. They deleted my conversations with her, blocked me from all contact with her, and then returned my phone. They then drove me to a landmark while threatening me and low-key advising me like I was a sibling. There is no advice they did not give me. Mind your business. Don't follow random girls home. Always know where you are going. Don't drink things they didn't make in front of you, etc. And that's what I said. All this advice, that's all the red flag counters that I've been talking about. Why would you do all these things? Maybe he wasn't thinking properly because he has seen and I quote, top tier babe. I went home shaken but somehow grateful. I know my friends will see this story and know it is me. But till today, it feels surreal. I changed my username and have been minding my business ever since, as you should. I never reported the situation because you don't go to war with these kinds of people, honestly. And I don't even have any concrete evidence. The evidence on his phone was deleted by her brothers, so... Although I know the girl, I know her family is mouthed and they did not harm me in the end. All they did was traumatize me and make me apologize to someone I wronged. Babes day, Sha. This girl pretended to like me when in reality she hated me with everything in her. I think we have all learned a thing or two from this story because this story is a horror story if I've ever seen one. But then again, he was facing the consequences of his actions, although the consequences were a bit too stretched out too far, in my opinion. But I'm sure he will never post a silly tweet again. Now, the second story, the title of the second story is No Go They Do Pass Yourself, or whatever Kiss Daniel and Co said. Tell me why I went out with a man and he embarrassed himself and me by virtue of association because he almost died twice. Wait, before I get into this, how can someone embarrass you because they almost died? How do you possibly make it about you? But okay, let's go on. I had linked up with this Casey guy a couple of times, but every time we met, we did not get to spend much time together for reasons I will not get into right now. Weeks had passed and we'd been talking, but everything felt surface level because a lot of our lengthy conversations were via texts and VNs. Fast forward to weeks later, he still felt like a stranger, although I considered him a crush. He brought up the idea of renting an apartment for the night so we could finally have some alone time and get to know each other without any interruptions from third parties. The night he proposed didn't work for me because I already had a games night to attend, and he claimed subsequent weekends didn't work for him, so we reached a compromise. I got him an invite to the games night so we could attend together and then head to the shoplet he had booked to spend the night. When we got to the games night, I saw that his phone was plugged into a power bank and he was carrying both. I asked him if he needed to carry the power bank since his phone was on 60-something%, and he said that he didn't want it to die in case he needed it. I didn't like it, but I just laughed it off. This is an honest question. What is wrong with carrying a power bank around? Why is it embarrassing? Why do people find it embarrassing? What is the alternative? At the games night, we were having fun, playing games and whatnot. He was very active, which was great initially, but I started noticing him becoming very energetic and in an almost animated way, which was not cute to me. Like, nigga, calm down. You did not even know these people. At some point, someone with a joint asked if we wanted to smoke. I politely declined because even though I like smoking, I do not like sharing a joint with strangers. Since the pandemic, I've just felt some way about it, even if I know it's normal to share on a night out like this. He was insisting I follow them out to smoke, so I agreed under the condition that I would start. I went to tell Casey that I was stepping out quickly to smoke with a few people so he wouldn't look for me, and he said he'd come along. I was confused because as far as I knew, he did not smoke. So what was he coming out to do? he said he'd smoke. I told him that he did not have to. He said it was fine. And even though he told me he did not smoke, technically, what he meant was that he smoked once in a while. Can people please be direct? Please. I was like, okay. When the few of us who were out to smoke stepped outside, I stood directly beside the person with the joint, while Casey was a few people away. I took 3 drags and passed it on. Everything was going smoothly until it got to Casey's turn. He took a drag, and the next thing, he started coughing. Not a masculine cough for that matter. He sounded like a dying cat, like he was fighting for his life so he wouldn't choke to death. Wait, oh, so someone is coughing. I am thinking about whether the cough is masculine or feminine, or whether it sounds like a cat or sounds like a dog. He's someone that is dying, something that you're supposed to rush and take care of him, to check someone you came with. I was so embarrassed because why is a grown man choking on one drag? Nobody forced him to come here. You don't smoke and that's fine. I just looked at him as the girl next to him started patting his back like he was a baby. It's even another girl that he does not know that is even patting his back. Girl, what were you there for? I know that you guys went out to have a good time and everything, but like, this cough turned into a full-on choking as his eyes turned red and teary, and people started signaling for someone to bring a bottle of water. I got second-hand embarrassment from this whole thing. They finally brought the water, and as he was guzzling it, he started choking again, even louder this time, with saliva drooling out of his mouth. Apparently, the water went down the wrong pipe. I just stood there looking at this man-child in disgust. I didn't want to go near him for many reasons. People were already around him trying to help, and I figured that if I stayed far away, people would forget that we came together. This man automatically turned into a loser in my eyes, and I just wanted to leave. Nah, this girl is not the kind person at all. After everything calmed down, the others went back to smoking. Someone tried to pass the joints to him again, and one of the guys interjected, saying that they shouldn't pass it to that guy, make he no come die, in quotes. If I wasn't embarrassed before, I very much was now. I told him I wanted to leave. After saying goodbyes to my friends, we left. Once we entered the car, I really wanted to go home, but I didn't want the money he paid for the shortlets to go to waste. I figured we just spend the night and I'd head back home in the morning so he would not feel bad. But any attraction I had before that night was gone. I just needed to make it through the next few hours. I noticed that he was quiet during the car ride, and it was perfect for me because I didn't want to look at his loser face. Once we got to the apartment, I was trying to feign tiredness, like, let's sleep. And the next thing he says is, let's unpack what happened this evening. Unpack what, Mr. Man? I was like, quote, please, I'm really tired. I want to sleep. He was like, quote, no, we need to address this situation because it's a serious red flag, end quote. Red flag? Yes, girl, it's a red flag for the fact that he was choking, and I understand that you might have felt embarrassed and everything. I am not discrediting how you feel, but I am calling out how you behaved, how you reacted to him choking, and how you reacted to him behaving. You could have helped him, made sure he was okay, and then you leave, instead of just distancing yourself from someone that you came to the games night with. It was at that point I realized that we're talking about different things. He went on to whine and complain about how, when he was choking, I did not even have the decency to come and help, and afterwards, I just kept quiet, while even a strange girl who did not know him was helping. Exactly, this is what I was talking about. Excuse me, sir, if you don't shut your dirty mouth. I tried to explain to him that I was confused about what was happening at first, and the girl helping was standing directly beside him. It didn't make sense to draw more attention by running over to where he was. He said that that wasn't good enough, and that if it were me, he would have come to help me. That was a fair point. I was actually triggered because I told him not to smoke. Who was he forming for? I was trying to be polite, but he was pushing me, so I replied that it could never be me. because I knew how to smoke. Is that a flex? Because I knew how to smoke, and unlike the abaya that he was, I wouldn't choke on water. He got very angry, rightfully so. He got very angry, still ranting, and I was standing there looking at this random man give me a headache by whining some more. I just couldn't take it anymore. As he was talking, I started my own rant. I told him that I was only being polite, that he was a whole mess that evening. First of all, what kind of man goes to a party with a phone plugged into a power bank? I knew that this girl was still upset about this. Then who chokes back to back? I told him that I didn't even want to be there because this whole thing was irksome. I left the party because I felt embarrassed by him, and the only reason I followed him back here was because I felt pity for him. I didn't want the money he paid here to go to waste. But at this point, I did not even want to be around him. As I was ranting, I guess he reached his breaking point because the next thing I saw was his power bank flying across the room towards my head. Luckily, it missed me by a little. Wait. What do you mean he threw his power bank at you? I know that all these things must have been really annoying to him, but two of you are even toxic for each other. It's good that it did not work out. Two of you should just go because this is a very violent person. What do you mean and I'm sure that it was a heavy duty power bank. I was shocked because I didn't know this person was violent. If he could throw a power bank at me, he could hit me, exactly what I said. And if he could hit me, he could kill me. The next thing, he was pointing towards the door and yelling at me to get out. He didn't have to ask me twice. I quickly walked outside and started ordering a ride. It was the middle of the night, but I felt safer standing outside the gates of the compound waiting for a ride. Luckily, the gateman of the house kept me company by continuously asking me to come and wait inside his house instead of standing on the road. I stood there until my ride came. When the ride came, instead of going home, I went back to the games night because my friends were still there. I narrated everything that happened after we left, and we collectively agreed that the guy was a loser. We went on to have a fantastic night, cracking jokes at his expense. What I have already said everything I have to say. And second of all, I don't even know what number I am now. Why can't your friends call you out on the way you treated him? Assuming that you told them the full story. Why couldn't they call you out about how you could have behaved? And yes, the way he behaved was not right, but like, I have nothing to say. So guys, those are the two stories I have lined up for you today. Please tell me what you think about the stories. Comment your thoughts, and if you would like to see more of these. If you've watched this point, thank you very much. Please consider subscribing and liking this video. Thank you.